So Andy's immortal again, Booker is dead, and Uma Thurman, aka Discord, just flipped the entire lore upside down. And Nile might be the most dangerous immortal we've ever seen. Hey guys, welcome to the Binge Zone. I'm Shalana, and today we're breaking down the wild ending of The Old Guard 2. Did you know it's been 5 years since the first movie came out? With how long it takes Netflix between movies and TV seasons, they must think we're the immortal ones. So we're going to be breaking down the new rules of immortality, the rise of Discord, not that one, and what it all means for the future of the franchise. Because this isn't a story about soldiers who can't die anymore. This is about legacy, power, choice, and the curse of living forever. So let's get into it. The Old Guard takes place 6 months after the events of the first film. Nile has accepted her role on the team, Andy is mortal now, and Booker is still exiled, but Quynh is back. If you remember back in the first movie, during the 1500s, when the Europeans accused Quynh and Andy of being witches because they were immortal, they trapped Quynh in a tomb and dumped her in the Atlantic Ocean, which explains why Andy could never find her. Because during that time period, about 500 years ago, is when Europeans began exploring the Americas and taking different routes to travel across the Atlantic Ocean. Up until that time, despite being over 4,000 years old, Andy had never traveled to the Americas or traveled across the Atlantic Ocean. Most of her immortality stayed in the landmass that is known as Eurasia, so she had no idea where to look. I mean, look at the Atlantic Ocean, it's huge. We're then introduced to Discord and Tua. Tua, who is a new character, quickly becomes one of the most important pieces to understanding how the immortality of this universe works. Tua has been alive for over 2,300 years, and we learn from Andy that Tua knows about every immortal. And he's not a warrior like the others. He's more like the historian or the librarian. He has documented the rise, the fall, and the transfer of every known immortal throughout history. And more than anyone else, Tua understands Discord, because the two of them were partners who walked the earth together for centuries, kind of like how Andy and Quynh used to be partners who walked the earth together. And all these immortals have something in common. They've all clicked the subscribe button, so you guys should too. What I think is interesting is Tua was not only there when the Europeans threw Quynh into the ocean, but Tua was also there during the crucifixion of Jesus. Because if you remember in the movie, when Discord is talking to Nile inside the church, Nile lets it be known that she was there when Jesus was crucified, and because her and Tua were partners, Tua must have been there as well. By the time we get to the ending of the movie, Discord, who we find out is a former immortal, is now mortal. And she has been manipulating the events from the shadows, not because she has noble intentions. She's doing this because she's a coward. Now that she's mortal again, she's willing to destroy the world in hopes of being immortal again, which is why she has kidnapped Joe, Nikki, and Tua. Her plan is to use Nile to kill one of them and then take that person's immortality for herself. It sounds confusing at first, but Tua confirms something shocking. Immortality in this universe can be transferred. Not taken, but willfully given, but only if the immortal willingly chooses to pass it on. And that's not all. Tua discovers why Andy lost her immortality in the first movie, and that's because she was wounded by Nile. This is where things get interesting. Since Nile is the last immortal, she has the power to take away other people's immortality, kind of like an immortality nullifier. If she injures another immortal, they start to lose their power. It doesn't happen instantly, but it starts a chain reaction. Their bodies stop healing, time catches up with them, their next major wound will kill them. That's exactly what happened to Andy in the first movie. When Nile fought her in the first film and wounded her back in the first movie and saw after Andy got that first injury, you'll notice that it was there the entire time. We just never knew why her immortality stopped working, and we had no idea that it was Nile that caused it. He's been tired of being immortal, willingly transfers his immortality to Andy before he dies, so now she's back in the game. And that's exactly why Discord needs her. Discord isn't just any villain, she's the first immortal, even older than Andy. If Nile is the Omega immortal, that would make Discord the Alpha immortal. That's why they have the matching tattoos, Alpha and Omega. With Discord, she mastered combat, war strategy, espionage, and amassed a vast amount of wealth. But somewhere along the line, she lost her immortality. We don't know how, but I think there might be more immortals than we know about. That's the only way it would make sense, because how else would Discord have lost her immortality? Maybe there was another nullifier before Nile, and now that Discord is mortal again, she hates it. She is older than Andy, meaning she is closer to 5,000 years old. The reason that's important is because she's older than every known religion on earth right now. So in her mind, she knows if she dies, there's no afterlife, there's no spiritual realm. Everything that religion teaches, she predates. So she's petrified of dying, petrified of non-existence after walking this earth for over 5,000 years. That's why she needs Nile, because if she can get Nile to take the immortality of one of the old guard, she could with torture force them to willingly pass on the immortality back to her so that she can become immortal again. On a side note, let's talk about her skills real quick, because even as a mortal, she absolutely dismantled Andy in a fight. The choreography was brutal. It's surgical. You saw how she diced up Andy's Achilles tendons. We thought Andy was the best fighter in the world, but after seeing what Discord did to her, I honestly don't see how Andy beats her in the Old Guard 3. The movie ends with Andy and Quynh. Yes, Quynh is back, setting off to rescue the others. Joe, Nikki, and Tua are being held hostage by Discord's forces, and Discord also captured Nile, which means she has everything she needs to fulfill her plans. And even though Quynh and Andy have reconciled, their old wounds are still there. They know they need each other, especially because Quynh is now mortal after her fight with Nile. And they know that Discord is more dangerous than anything they've faced before. That's another reason why I think there might be more immortals out there. We learned in this movie that Andy doesn't reveal every immortal she knows. Since no one besides her and Discord knew about the existence of Tua, one thing I'm curious about and I want your opinion on is, do you think Discord can give other people immortality? Think about it for a second. If Nile is the Omega and she can take away immortality, it would make sense that Discord, being the alpha immortal, the first immortal, could be the one to give other people immortality. They haven't talked about it in the movie. I think that may be something she has in her arsenal, but that's just my theory. I want to know what you think about it in the comment section below. Let's talk about the deeper themes at play here. Nile represents the next generation, the one who didn't ask for the power but is given it anyway. She carries the burden of change. She doesn't fight like Andy, nor does she think like her either, but she has heart and she has vision. Andy represents the past. She's weary, she's seen too much. Her journey is about letting go, learning to trust, learning that the world doesn't need her to lead it anymore. It needs her to believe in something bigger, and Discord represents the danger of legacy unchecked. She was the first immortal, but she never wanted to evolve. She wants control, and that's what makes her dangerous. The movie raises some real good questions. Who gets to decide who lives forever? Is immortality a blessing or a curse? Should it even exist? The Old Guard 3 is clearly being set up as the final war. Discord versus Nile, the beginning versus the end, past versus future, and all the fate of the immortals are hanging on the balance. But what do you think about the movie? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Did you like the Old Guard 2? I can tell that they increased the budget from the first movie, because all the CGI special effects that was going on with their immortality tricks in the first 5 minutes of the movie shows you that they spent a little bit of money on this. Hopefully we don't have to wait another 5 years for Netflix to drop the sequel, because again, we're not immortal, and by that time I'll be in my 40s. But anyway guys, make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to click that little bell, and stay immortal, my friends. Peace.